I built my first proper gaming PC back in 2012 for 2 games. The first was Tribes Ascend, and the second was for DayZ mod. Now whilst Tribes Ascend's legacy is remembered only by those who keep it closest to their hearts, DayZ as a cultural icon has survived for years. I went camping with some friends recently, and as we set up our tents in the pitch black and chilly autumn night, me and the guys thought to ourselves, all of our hours on DayZ had set us up to do just fine in the Scottish Highlands. DayZ is one of my favourite games. I don't play it regularly, but the formative memories I made in DayZ mod have and will stay with me. Like many people, I disliked DayZ standalone for a long time, on one part because of how long it took the game to actually become properly playable and fleshed out, and because it went a very different direction from the mod. Mod was traders, base building, and light survival. Standalone, on the other hand, was a true hardcore survival experience. Sickness and infections, guns jamming and breaking, and scarcity of every resource. The game was hard, and the game was incredibly fucking buggy. Everyone that played the mod knew that it wasn't players or zombies that was the real enemy. It was stairs and ladders, breaking your legs the moment you clipped into them the wrong way. But once those kinks were ironed out in standalone, the difficulty of the game became survival. Once again, not from players or zombies, but from the environment. From the harsh cold of a night without a fire, to the scorching heat of a chicken you just cooked, and the immediate pain that comes with eating something that fucking hot. DayZ standalone is about hiking, camping, and true survival, but not like the other games where it's just water and thirst. You have an array of mechanics, from an in-depth health system, doubly so for medication, specific tools required for actions, and using the wrong tool affecting the result. Game mechanics intertwining to create a view on the world that's not just as simple as, I see water, so I can drink it. It's what's affected that water. Always assume it's contaminated, so boil or purify it. It's heat mechanics for food preservation. It's packing enough supplies optimally to make sure the journey continues. It's desperately finding an unmarked can of food, consuming it ravenously before you starve, and then throwing it all up because it was either off, not cooked, or dog food. Refilling your blood in mod was eating some meat and finding a blood bag. And yeah, you can eat meat to slowly refill blood in standalone, but now if you desperately need a transfusion, you better find a blood test to find out your blood type. Otherwise your death won't be long after having A positive blood when you're A negative. You could have an infection. Well, it's not just an infection, it could be one of multiple, all with different symptoms. Do you have cholera, influenza, a wound infection, salmonella, or something else? Because your character has an invisible immune system stat that goes up and down based on a multitude of factors, and why it's a great idea to take multivitamins in-game and in real life. But all this complexity is where standalone and mod stand apart, because I totally get why some people don't like it. Hey, I didn't like it at first either. It took a long time for it to grow on me. Back in the alpha days, eating what looked like a regular orange, and then being blasted with text messages saying, my mouth tastes funny, until I eventually died, wasn't a fun experience. The game is just as much about traversal as it is survival. Those of us with many hours in the game know most of Trinaris like the back of our hands. Landmarks, key points of interest, a virtual heat map in our heads of where we will and won't encounter resistance, where we could try and find a specific item we need, or places to set up either a temporary or permanent camp. You spend so much time in DayZ just running, and if the server you're on doesn't have a plugin to add an auto-run keybind, you'll need to find something to stick in your keyboard to make the journey easier on your fingers. But it's not just about facing the correct way and running straight. Navigating up, around, through and between areas is a large part of the experience. Ain't no one friendly in Cherno anymore, and so unless I'm a brand new fresh spawn, I'm making my way around the city to go along the south coast because people have become ruthless. But I'll get to that shortly. The heat map in your head of hotspots is something that gets built up over time, but I'll be damned if it hasn't saved my life multiple times. Pathing around an area that I suspect could probably have people in. Just to hear a gunshot crack from it as I'm running the other way fills me with a sense of validation like no other. Knowing that whilst technically you could run in a straight line through this forest to get to your destination seemingly faster, those who haven't played a lot don't know the map, and so won't realise that they're going to waste time navigating themselves down or around a cliff face, when they could have saved time overall by spending a bit more time reorientating beforehand. I know what military outposts will tend to be quiet and what ones tend to be busy, but aside from ammo and some protection and bigger bags, I don't like the over-militarization that DayZ endgame brings. I see why people like the tactical side of DayZ. Military style loot, NVGs, the lot. That all makes sense if you like PvP or taking a break from Tarkov, But I like DayZ when it's like early wipe Tarkov, gritty, desperate, forming shaky alliances with a stranger with the same goal or destination, with the thought of betraying them in the back of your mind being weighed towards your few spare bullets. Because if you miss that shot, you're gonna wish you never pulled the trigger. It's why the shoot on sight meta killed the heart of multiplayer survival games for me. It's why games like Rust are loved by some, because kill on sight is just the way to go there. But I hate kill on sight with a passion. Yeah, cool, the loot is yours to take. But you just ended someone's story, their connection to that loot and all their moments they had through with it, just because you wanted to see if they had spare 5.56 rounds when you yourself have almost a full inventory of them. I view DayZ as a story. When I play solo, I treat each death as the end of that story. I don't retrace my steps to get my stuff back. That journey is done. Instead, I pick another direction or path to the same or different goal. It's the same reason why I love Project Zomboid. And that's another game that's been in development for too long. I mean, fucking hell. I bought Zomboid when it was originally launched on Dasura. Do any other old fuckers remember Dasura? DayZ is best when it's camping for survival. Not sky-high bases with multi-level door fortifications to stop raiding. If you know a spot that's beautiful for a base, it can be amazing. A lovely little outpost just for you. But if you love it, there's a good chance other people love it too. When I build my base, I like to take over buildings, make it natural, or make a base that looks actually like a building, instead of the gargantuan and overly optimized towers that people flock towards now. Rust and its consequences have been a disaster for survival games. The meta of survival games has become so stale, so formulaic, which is why I play non-kill on sight or light RP servers. I don't want to avoid PvP entirely. I do like to rat, but I want that fear. I want player engagement. I want a reason to interact with another player and not shoot or be shot before we've even seen each other. Survival games can be full of so many amazing stories, all naturally created by players. Don't just kill someone and take their stuff. Rob them at gunpoint. Tie their hands and then send them on their way, then giving them a choice. Do they cut their losses and avoid you, or swing back and try to take what's rightfully theirs? You should not care about your KD in a survival game like this. That is so fucking cringe. You should care about your story and progression. You should care about the survival of your character and your end destination. The true beauty of humanity is revealed when you play a game, see another player, jump, and then they jump back. It's the little things, lads. Interacting with a stranger, asking if they have meds you need, or food because you're getting low. True interaction, and not just farming gear to sell to traders to buy everything else you need. Although the trader versus non-trader divide is something that I might make another video on, having traders takes away a lot of the need for interaction from other people in my opinion. Maybe it's because metas have changed, but interaction isn't the same as it used to be. It's why people talk less in MMOs. When we were young, the nature of being able to talk to someone across the world in a video game was an amazing marvel, something that filled you with wonder, and now we take it for granted, because it's commonplace. I can be in Scotland and talk to someone in Korea easily, or play Deadlock and have Eastern Europeans insult my mother in all sorts of colourful language. That's just another aspect of video games and communication now. What I'm trying to say is that DayZ is unique. I wish aspects of the player base and metagaming was different to give it part of its heart or soul back. But I don't think that happens unless you play servers that specifically try to do that. What I am saying though, is that it's the original. The granddaddy of what the copycats, offshoots and evolutions all come from. It has such a massive legacy because yes, the zombies in the game can be dangerous, but it's the environment and factors in between that create the real danger, the real experience and the real moments you remember. I'd love to make a joke about the overall theme of DayZ and zombie media as a whole and say, humans are the real monsters. Which is true to an extent, but in reality, survival is difficult both in-game and in real life. I love taking a break from working to survive in my real life existence, to rummage in cottages for tins of beans to extend my character's story just that little bit longer. If loving hiking through the hills with my friends in an aimless journey of survival is wrong, I don't want to be right. Thank you for watching.